government, since I have been an adult, have been irresponsible. They are all a bunch of irresponsible clowns.
Nigeria's problem with leadership cannot be defined with one word.
Remove math from the educational stream of a particular set of people is like removing oxygen. We have become a consuming nation. You understand? Instead of being a producing nation. Why? Because of the fact that we have not concentrated on the power of numbers and the power of mathematics.
Explain it to me in English. We say we are not importing fuel. NNPC is importing fuel. Importation of fuel in Nigeria is costlier than Dangote's fuel. Explain it to me, because it's not clear. If you go to the Port Harcourt people now, go to the Warri people now, go to the Kaduna people. I mean, I don't want to talk about Kaduna refinery, because that was when common sense left the window, left through the window. Common sense escaped the country.
You think Trump will invite Tinubu?
I'm appealing to him because Trump is my friend. So I'm also appealing to him that the time has come for him to invite our own president for diplomatic.
Isn't that amazing?
Any nation, any society, any organization rises and falls on the quality of its leader.
Wow, that was amazing, and that was a recap of what we did last year on Daybreak Live, and that deserves a round of applause.
Absolutely.
To everyone, the technical crew, the producers, and definitely the host. That was amazing. And from there, we pick up this year. And of course, we tag this one season 2. And on that note, we say good morning, Nigeria, and welcome to Daybreak Live, your morning compass for news, context, and of course, things that really interest you on this show, and of course, definitely conversations right here on Dominion Television. It's a brand new week and a brand new year, and officially season 2 of the show you trust and how to wake you up informed. I'm Sam Sebalogo, and it's great to have you with us on this fresh January morning.
Happy New Year, Nigeria. We're excited to step into 2026 with you. I'm Manolo Akpoido, and this season promises sharper conversations, deeper analysis, and stories that truly matter locally and globally, maybe in Venezuela as well.
Definitely. Allow me to say Happy New Year as well. I'm Oluwayemi Adelako. Glad to be part of your morning routine once again. Whether you're heading out already at work or watching from home, thank you for choosing Daybreak Live as your first stop of the day.
All right, let's take a look at what we have lined up for you this morning.
On Daybreak Gist, Nigeria's political space is already warming up. The Obedience Movement has made a strong declaration insisting that Peter Obi remains the only candidate they will support for the ADC presidential ticket. What does this mean for opposition politics, coalition building, and the road to 2027? We'll break down the statement, the subtext, and the possible political implications.
That's correct. We'll also bring you our weather report, followed by Daybreak News, a concise sweep of the top stories making headlines across Nigeria and around the world.
Then it's time for our newspaper review and analysis, where today's front pages meet historical context and critical thinking.
All right, our analyst for that segment is Temitope Ishola, an historian and, of course, a seasoned affairs analyst who will help us read beyond the headlines and understand the patterns shaping today's news.
Definitely. And of course, too big story is one conversation set in the tone for the year. We're talking international politics might override our Trump's actions in Venezuela redefine global sovereignty from Latin America to Africa and from diplomacy to international law. Recent actions and rhetoric surrounding Venezuela have reignited an age-old question: is global order still guided by rules or by raw power? Are we witnessing a dangerous shift where influence outweighs sovereignty, and what does this mean for weaker nations navigating global politics?
To unpack this, we'll be joined by Comrade Oluwakemi Ademola, a social commentator, public affairs analyst, and a passionate advocate for good governance. She helps us to connect the dots between global power plays and their real-world consequences for developing nations. Sometimes I don't like this, like Nigeria.
Well, I guess this is timely. It's a global conversation anyway with local implications, and one you don't want to miss this morning.
Definitely. From politics to power, headlines to history, this is Daybreak Live, reset, refreshed, and ready for season 2.
Insightful, exquisite, balanced, and relevant.
And always focus on what matters to you.
Definitely. This is Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Let's get into the stories shaping your day.
I think I love that, you know, there were 3 words used: research, refreshed, and what again? That makes it. That makes it make sense. Happy New Year to you guys.
Happy New Year.
Good to have you back on the show.
Yeah,
we saw a clip of briefly of what we did last year. Some of the catchy places where some people spoke about happenings within and outside the country, Nigeria. You know, I think that was where we left off, and there's a lot to talk about this morning too. We just you know, talked about the obedient movement, saying, look, we are only going to support Peter Obi. And that's because is the only one we want you to give the ticket to. But if you check the ADC, now you have so many big wigs who are also high in that position, the top you know, position in the country, which is the presidency. You have Rotimi Amechi, you have Atiku Abubakar, who people know. People actually have that belief that if Atiku Abubakar is in your political party, don't just forget the ticket because he has the wherewithal to get it done. And Peter Obi just moving to that political party. Now, one thing I am quite, that amazes me is the fact that Peter Obi left the Labour Party where he happens to be, it looks like the only candidate in that party if he stays there, and then joined the ADC where there are so many big sharks. And the question is, why did they move from the Labour Party to the ADC? And the obedient movements are saying, look, you probably have joined the ADC. We don't know why you joined, but the only reason we will support you as the obedient movement is that you get the ticket, the presidential ticket. Then the question is, who are the obedient?
Okay, so I think it's a big question, and then maybe Peter will be one day will have to answer that question. And then, you know, obedience coming out to say we are not going to support you if you decide to deputize anybody. I think it's not news, because ever since ADC was created as a political party, obedience have been very firm with their stance to say that, you see, whether because his body language at that time was not hostile towards, you know, the coalition party. So they have been saying, if you decide to join ADC and you decide to maybe become VP of anybody, we are not going to support you. And of course, you know, Peter will be also defecting to the ADC is also not news. But then this is what, you know, we should really talk about. You know, the fact that ADC is very smart about one thing. They are silent about the zoning system. They have not said anything, you know, about whether it's going to be zoned to the south or to the north. And then we have Atiku Abubakar, who is saying, I'm definitely going to be on the ballot. Peter Obi has also said, you know, times that I'm definitely also going to be on the ballot. So it's a problem. And then recently, I think Kenneth Okonkwo was on national TV, and then he came out to say that obedient who refused to join ADC, they are disobedient. So I was wondering what is going on, because even in 2023, a lot of obedient did not join Labour Party and they voted Peter Obi. According to them, Peter Obi is the party. They are not concerned whether he's in Labour or whether he's in People's Party or any other party. They just want to vote for him. So the same thing will play out in 2027. A lot of them will not join ADC. You cannot coerce people to join political party. They will decide to vote for him or not vote for him. But then this old defection to the ADC, a lot of obedient are disappointed. You know, exactly why you mentioned the fact that, you know, why did they leave Labour Party? But then some Nigerians are also saying that, what will you have him do? Will you rather he stay back in Labour Party that is going through, you know, turbulence at this point? Because, I mean, at a point we had, you know, the Nenandi factor, we had the Abure factor. Recently now, INEC is, you know, recognizing, you know, the Abure factor as maybe, you know, the national...
They are three. They are three. And
exactly.
They are Papa
too. It's a problem. So Labour Party itself, you know, they are not organized. They are going through issues. So would you rather him stay back in that political party or move to the ADC? So it's a problem now. It depends on Peter Obi now to now look for a way to pacify his obedient, you know, as a lot of persons will refer to them, because a lot of them are disappointed that he left the Labour Party. And we also have people who are saying, we are putting you on a condition. If you decide to, you have defected to the party already, but we are going to support you if and only if you get a you know, ticket. And of course, you know, we see, just like you mentioned, a lot of other persons are also eyeing the tickets. But then before the middle of the year, we should get to know who is going to be the flag bearer. So we are folding our hands and then looking forward to how that will play out.
You know, so I'm just going to start by saying, how long does it take to lose the trust of people when you seem shaken, when you seem not to be stable, when you are not consistent? I think that's the question for Peter Obi, maybe not for ourselves here. But the conversation also has shifted from the point where Obi was not just the flag bearer of the Labour Party at the last election. It was also the ringleader, in a sense, to say he was the weight carrier for that party. So from that point to moving to another, and I think this one thing I keep saying, that cross-carpeting, we should not see it as a normal thing. You know, I think that's one thing I wanted to come maybe say today, that we should not see cross-carpeting as a, because ideally it's not normal. Because if you move from one party to the other, the party you're moving to is supposed to have another ideology, philosophy, policy prescription that might be different from what you believe in. How do you merge those things, your interest and their interest? I know we talk about politics is about interest, but that narrative, who taught us anyway? I don't like the narrative, because when you say it's all about, I get the point that we're trying to make, but in the sense too, the political actors have made us believe these things for so long. A story being told again and again will become the narrative of the story that you are telling. We don't want the same story of cross-carpeting, the same story of saying I can jump to any party and it does not matter. It does matter, because if you say it's all about interest, whose interest? Whose interest are you supposed to serve? Is it not the people? Is it your personal interest? You say I have interest because I know if I come to this party, I'll make sense. I'll become the president. I have more chances, which is okay for your political ambition. What about the Nigerian people? What is at stake when you leave or cross carpet? What is in the minds of the people? Because if you are coming from a party to another party, because we've also come from parties over time, we call them association of past party, other party members, just joining. Everybody's moving from one place to the other, and it seems like, oh yeah, it's a normal thing, but it is not normal. That's just what I wanted to come say this morning, that it is not normal that we are saying these things, and we should not believe that should be the order of the day. We can change the narrative, and I think it's also about revolution. We know that a lot of persons are also, I think some lawmakers, federal lawmakers, are about to join the ADC because of Peter Obi, which is a good one, right? But let's see what ADC is bringing to the table. Not just say you are cross-carpeting because you have a higher chance. It is not just about you. And I think that's one thing I want to keep repeating to our political actors and political leaders. It is not, when you say interest, the interest should be the people. You are coming to serve. Politics is not, oftentimes we've made a mess of politics in Nigeria. And then we've created the narrative, and every Nigerian believes, okay, well, it's not about politics, it's not about numbers. Yes, but it's all about the people too.
Okay, I'm sorry to quote you. Speaking of interest now, this is Nigeria, and I think you're very spot on. You have a very good point. But let me cite an example. I spoke about Kenneth Okonkwo. A few months back, Kenneth said all sorts of things to Peter Obi on national TV. Like, he's not interested in how he's playing his politics, is done, and that was why he left Labour Party. But recently, Kenneth is back to calling Peter Obi my brother. And I was shocked. Same thing you said a lot of, so that's what we are talking about when we say interest. See, when it comes to Nigerian politics, the only commodity in the market on the table is interest. Personal interest.
Who's interest?
Before, that's the problem.
You might want to.
That's what we have found ourselves in. Yes, of course, national interest might come later, but then, based on what we have seen, the reality that we've seen over time, Nigerians, or let me say politicians, are quick to switch to the next side if they can see that it's going to favor them in a way.
That's exactly the point I'm making.
Several times.
When you say reality, who makes the reality?
It's not about who makes the reality. It's what we see.
What they make you see. That's my point, actually.
A lot of times.
We've been fed with this a number of times, and it's not the right.
A lot of times.
It's what they want to see, and that's what you are going to believe, because that's the only thing available. Now, you might want to take a look at it from this angle. When you are talking about loyalty and interest, I think the fact remains that nobody really has the interest of the people at heart, and if they do, I don't think anyone would be leaving one political party to the other. Now, let's take Peter Obi, for example, as a typical example for this particular one. When the late Sage was around, that was the former president of the Republic of Biafra, of course, a former military personnel in Nigeria, just like they will call him in that part of the country. Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu was available, was around, and was still very much alive. Peter Obi said he was never going to leave APGA. And just after Ojukwu left and died, one way or the other, he left APGA, went to the PDP. He said on national TV, I'm never leaving the PDP. And Peter Obi left the PDP, joined the Labour Party. And they said the same thing recently. Someone asked him a question on national TV and said, there were rumors that you are joining the ADC. He said there is no such thing. And he has the interest of the people at heart, and he's staying with the Labour Party. And now the same person is in the ADC. So it's never about the interest of the people. Now, I said I was going to talk about two things. The other thing is that I asked a critical question the other time. Who are the obedient? Are they not the same people we see on a day-to-day basis? They are still the same people. And I think the weight of expectation on the obedient, I think, is way too much for them. And they are beginning to lose what you call, maybe, let me put it this way, they are outliving their own usefulness, one way or the other, because the urge during the last election has suddenly faded away, probably because there is no election at hand. But then there are still going to be crises. I don't think Peter Obi will be able to muster the same kind of momentum he gathered during the last election this time around, because so many people are now beginning to see him in a different light. So many people are now beginning to have doubt in his ideology. So many people are now beginning to see him as a, can we really trust this man? Because he keeps saying, oh, I'm not leaving this political party, and then the next morning you find him in another political party. So it's a crisis, not just to Peter Obi, but it's a thing happening in Nigeria. Now, let me give you another instance. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso has been to how many political parties? He was formerly of the PDP, the APC, now NPP. He's already talking about moving back to the APC. And the only condition that he has not made him join the APC is because he's giving them stringent conditions. Oh, whichever party I'm joining must give me the vice presidential slot or the presidential slot. That is for him to be placed strategically to contest for the presidency in the year 2031. So it's not just about the people. It's their own permutation of Emiloko. It has to be me, I'm the next person in line. So regardless of the situation, they do not care about you. They do not care about the viewers out there. They care about, oh, if so-so person finishes 4 years or 8 years, who's next in line. So they are placing themselves on the queue. So it has to be me after so-so person. So it's not really about you. It's about them. So answering your question about interest, nobody cares about you in this country.
Individual interest comes first, and it's really sad. And one more thing is, I think Peter Obi will have to deal with, I think this is the first time he's going to be slugging it out with other party members when it comes to the party ticket. For Labour Party, it was given to him, you know, he didn't struggle. But now, speaking of ADC, and when it comes to primaries, you have to, a lot of things, are involved, you spend and things like that. But then, good luck to him and the obedient, for 2027.
Just on the last note, the presidency also came out to criticize his cross-carpeting recently, but that's even another story for another time.
There was an issue about that also, but I think that's a topic we'll discuss some other day, because someone came out and said even the president has moved from one party to the other, the SDP, and then to ACN, AD, ACN, but I think it is still the same ideology, it just metamorphosed by name. So that's what I see. Okay, moving on from there, we'll take weather report on this show this morning. Let's see what the weather looks like across the country. And right now in the ancient city of Ibadan, what's the weather looking like in Ibadan this morning? Weather currently feels a little bit more of what you call mostly cloudy across Ibadan at 26 degrees Celsius. And later in the morning it will rise to 29 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy. In the afternoon it will be sunny at 37 degrees Celsius, while it will be clear in the evening by 28 degrees Celsius. Overnight it will drop 3 notches to 25 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy in Ibadan today.
And from Ibadan to Lagos State, the weather is fair at 27 degrees Celsius. Not so much of difference if you check later in the morning, because it rises by 2 degrees Celsius to 29 degrees Celsius later in the morning. And afternoon, it rises much further to 32 degrees Celsius, expected to be partly cloudy as well. And evening, it drops to 29 degrees Celsius, back to 29, and it's expected to be clear. And overnight, 28 degrees Celsius, also expected to be mostly clear. The weather is averagely fair in Lagos today at 27 degrees Celsius in Lagos.
Okay, let's cross over to Abeokuta, South Ogun this morning. Weather feels like 29 degrees Celsius, and later is expected to rise to 30 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy. In the afternoon, 37 degrees Celsius, sunny around 0%, and in the evening, 28 degrees Celsius, clear around 6%. Overnight, 25 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 9%. That's what we have for Abeokuta this morning.
All right, moving on. Let's see what's happening in Ekiti this morning. Weather currently feels like 23 degrees Celsius in Ekiti Southwest this morning, and it's currently mostly cloudy right there. Later in the morning, to rise by 5 degrees to 28 degrees Celsius while being sunny later in the morning. It will rise sharply to 35 degrees Celsius, mostly sunny in the afternoon, while it will drop 10 notches, a very sharp drop to 25 degrees Celsius, clear in the evening, and 22 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy overnight in Ekiti today.
And in Osogbo, of course, Osogbo today, weather is cloudy at 24 degrees Celsius, and later it rises to 29 degrees Celsius in the morning, and is mostly sunny as well. Then afternoon it rises much further to 37 degrees Celsius, moving about 8 degrees Celsius upward, and is expected to be mostly sunny as well. Then it drops by 10 degrees Celsius, whooping in the evening at 27 degrees Celsius. Weather is expected to be clear, and overnight 23 degrees Celsius is what it drops much further to today in Osogbo today.
All right, let's cross over to Ilorin International Airport, Kwara. Weather this morning feels like 24 degrees Celsius. Later is expected to rise to 30 degrees Celsius, sunny around 1%. In the afternoon, 38 degrees Celsius, sunny around 0%. And in the evening, 29 degrees Celsius, clear around 0%. Overnight, 23 degrees Celsius, clear around 8%. That's what we have for Ilorin this morning.
Okay, following Yemi straight to the north central this morning, I'll be taking Abuja, what the weather looks like in Abuja this morning, and that's the Federal Capital Territory. It's currently fair at 24 degrees Celsius. It will be sunny in the morning and afternoon at 31 degrees Celsius and 36 degrees Celsius respectively, while it will be clear at in the evening at 27 degrees Celsius and drop 2 notches to 25 degrees Celsius clear overnight in Abuja today.
The weather remains the same for Suleja, Niger State today at 24 degrees Celsius, expected to be fair across board. Then it rises much further to 32 degrees Celsius, expected to be very sunny in Suleja today. And then it's also sunny in the afternoon at 38 degrees Celsius. Then it drops by 10 degrees Celsius to 28 degrees Celsius, and the weather is expected to be clear. Then it drops much further by 3 degrees Celsius overnight to 25 degrees Celsius, expected to be clear in Suleja, Niger State today.
Okay, let's cross over to Port Harcourt. Rivers weather feels like 22 degrees Celsius. And later this morning is expected to rise to 28 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 1%. In the afternoon, 32 degrees Celsius, mostly sunny around 1%. In the evening, 24 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 6%. And overnight, 22 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 8%. That's what we have for Rivers this morning.
Okay, I think that will be the convenient point to leave that this morning. It is time for us to take the news, and then we'll be back and the show continues.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok @Dominion Broadcast and on X @DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Welcome to Daybreak News on Dominion Television. My name is Anoluakpo Ido. The First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has called for increased effort to bridge the digital gap for blind and visually impaired persons as the world marks World Braille Day 2026. In a statement she signed and released to commemorate the day, Tinubu described Braille as a vital tool for inclusion, dignity and independence for blind and visually impaired individuals. She emphasized the need to ensure accessibility in an increasingly digital age, noting that Braille, when integrated with technology, guarantees equal access to information, education, and opportunities. She urged the government and Nigerians to continue supporting everyone to live full, independent lives by creating an inclusive environment. Tinubu also called for strengthened policies and partnerships that empower every citizen to participate confidently in nation building. And moving on, still in health, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, has said that the federal government has administered over 25 million measles vaccine doses and 22 million yellow fever vaccinations nationwide. In a broadcast on his official X handle, Pate highlighted gains in immunization coverage and preventive healthcare delivery. He said 5 million children received the pentavalent vaccine, while more than 10 million Nigerians were vaccinated with the tetanus diphtheria vaccine during the nationwide diphtheria response. Pate also disclosed that over 1 million Gavi-funded vaccine doses were deployed to control meningitis outbreaks in northern Nigeria, adding that Nigeria has introduced its first ever malaria vaccine. The National Drug Law Enforcement NDLEA has intercepted consignment of illicit drugs, including ketamine, ecstasy, and tramadol concealed in coffee sachet and a book parcel bound for Zambia and the United Kingdom. The NDLEA said the seizures were made at a Lagos courier company on December 24th and 29th. In a related development, the agency also arrested 22 Indian crew members of the merchant vessel MV Aruna Holia and seized 31.5 kilograms of cocaine at the GDNL terminal of the Apapa port in Lagos. Meanwhile, NDLEA operatives in Oyo State have arrested a 65-year-old suspected drug kingpin, Fatima Ilori, also known as Mama Kerosene, following the seizure of 238.4 kilograms of skunk linked to her. And to security matters, troops of the Joint Task Force with support from the air component of Operation Fansanyama have neutralized at least 23 bandits who were fleeing Kano State after coordinated attacks in Shanono and Shanyawa local government areas. In a statement issued in Kano, the Assistant Director of Public Relations, 3 Brigade Nigerian Army, Major Zubairu Babatunde, said the attacks were launched on Thursday night and continued into the early hours of Friday. He explained that ground troops successfully contained the assault and inflicted heavy casualties on the attackers before pursuing the fleeing bandit to Karadua village in Matazu local government area of neighboring Katsina State. Major Babatunde added that intelligence report later revealed the bandit had regrouped at Danmarke in Matazu local government area to bury some of their members who were killed during the encounter with troops. Armed men suspected to be bandits operating from the Kainji Lake National Park have attacked the village markets in Kabe District, Borogu, local government area of Niger State, killing at least 30 villagers, abducting scores of others, and setting the market ablaze. The attack occurred on Saturday at Kasuan Daji Market in Debo Village. The assailants reportedly accessed the area through Kabir before launching the assault. Witnesses said the bandits not only burned down the market but also looted food items and other goods, opened fire on villagers and abducted many residents along routes leading to the vast Kanji Lake National Park. Confirming the incident in the statement, the Public Relations Officer of the Niger State Police Command, Wasiu Abiodun, said a joint security team had visited the scene, adding that efforts were ongoing to rescue the abducted victims. And now in business, Nigeria is facing rising debt pressure amid a historic debt squeeze affecting developing countries, according to the World Bank's 2025 International Debt Report. The report says developing economies recorded total external debt of $8.9 trillion in 2024, with debt servicing outpacing new financing by $741 billion over the past 3 years. Nigeria's external debt stood at about $47 billion as of June 2025, up from $45.9 billion in the fourth quarter. According to Debt Management Office, the World Bank warns that while global financial conditions have eased slightly, debt risks remain high. Chief economist Indamit Gill urged countries, including Nigeria, to strengthen fiscal discipline rather than return aggressively to external borrowing. The report also notes that high debt levels are worsening social pressures as funds that could support healthcare, education, and infrastructure are increasingly used to service loans. And in sport, the Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, has confirmed that goalkeeper Arthur Okonkwo is now eligible to represent the Super Eagles following his nationality switch. The 24-year-old, who was born in the United Kingdom to Nigerian parents, previously represented England at the under-15, under-16, under-17 and under-18 levels, but has opted to play for Nigeria at senior level. NFF Director of Communications Ademola Olajire said the Federation welcomed Okonkwo's decision, noting that it provides another quality option in goal. Okonkwo will now compete with Stanley Nwabali, Maduka Okoye, Amas Obasogie, Francis Uzo and Ebenezer Harcourt for the Super Eagles #1 shirt. And that's about it. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast. And next at Dominion Cast. And as Daybreak News, I am Anu Oluwapo Idowu. Thank you for watching.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
I welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us. This is Newspaper Headlines and Analysis. My name is Oluwayemi Adelak. I'm not alone in the studio. I have with me Temitope Ishola, historian and public affairs analyst. Allow me to say Happy New Year to you.
Same here. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It's so good to have you back and set in the studio.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think the New Year looks good on you.
Oh, definitely.
All right, because of time, let's take the headline one after the other. Let's start from Daily Global. I have this one that says, Iwatda clarifies APC's position on Rivers, confirms Fubara as the party's leader. I think ever since Fubara defected to the APC, there's been a bit of back and forth on who is the party leader in Rivers State. And I watched a video where Fubara was talking about a dog who is barking. And Wike responded and said that that same dog who is barking made you governor. And apart from that, Wike also said something recently to say that we made a mistake in 2023 and we are going to correct that. So this back and forth between these two people, especially now that Iwatda, clarified that, Fubara is the party leader in Rivers State. Do you think it might affect Fubara in a sense, speaking of a second-term bid, because he's very interested in running, for governor next term?
I think from the look of things, basically, it's still unfolding, let me put it that way.
Okay.
It's still unfolding. And the reason why it's an interesting game to watch is because President Tinubu needs both of them for his election. And if you look at it, both of them keep doing whatever they are doing on the premise that they have the backing of the president. So you see Wike say that it's not a party thing, it's a family thing, the Renewed Hope family. You see Fubara also alluding to something similar to that. But both of them also know that this is a very interesting period of the political space in Rivers, and whoever comes out top is going to be the one that would dictate the pace. And just like Wike himself acknowledged in this last outing, he said that if Fubara should go back as second term, that is going to bury him politically. So this race and this argument is just a race of relevance. Fubara needs to be well aligned so that he can at least outsmart or outlast Wike. And that was why the APC move was very, very integral for Fubara. prior before now, Fubara's only access to the presidency was through Wike.
Okay.
But because of that issue of impeachment and the likes, that was the opportunity they used to draw Fubara in. So right now, Fubara has direct access to the president. He doesn't need to go through anybody. I think I still saw a video recently where I think the Governors Forum, APC Governors Forum, it was strategically positioned beside the president.
Do you think
on
that
the table.
is enough?
Just the appointers.
This boss, I don't want to call it boss now, but the claims of Wike recently to say that, okay, I'm still in charge. No.
This election, this last 1 year, I keep telling people that Fubara is a gentle person. Fubara had every opportunity to reduce Wike. Like, just like the Lagos governor, the Rivers State governor can do and undo. Let me put it that way. So forget, it's just that Wike is more loud than Fubara. If it's by the instruments of state, Fubara has every ability, every power to render Wike a non-entity within the state. But it's just, I think, and that's what I sensed. Fubara was looking at it from an angle of, okay, you are my mentor, I owe you something. And I'm like, in politics, you don't fight and hold back and say, oh, I can kill you, but you're my friend, or why? No, if somebody's coming out for you, you take him out properly, reduce his powers. And just at the point Fubara was about doing that eventually, that's when the whole impeachment came in. So, and I think Tinubu needed that because he realized that truly there were two factions in the state. If you allowed both of them to keep fighting, he's not going to have any votes in Rivers. Not necessarily because they don't want to support it, but that personal infighting was going to scatter everything. So that's why that impeachment came in. Okay, let me appease this person and use this to draw this person in. So So now the interesting thing, just to wrap up, is to see how going into 2027, will the president be able to keep the two of them in check and say, you know what, I want to win. Wike, you still return as minister. Fubara, you still return as governor. But if that happens, Wike also knows that that's the end of him. So it's going to be, that I said, it's still unfolding, and it's going to be an interesting dynamics to see how Fubara will be allowed to work for either the president and not return back. That's a possibility that they are considering. But the truth is, the APC policy is the sitting governor of a state within the party is the ruler, is the head of the party in this. So Fubara is just, Wike is just a minister right now. The same way you have Badilabo as a minister, and he cannot come and wield control over the state. If there was a sitting PDP, if there was a sitting APC government here, Adilabu cannot say he wants to flex muscle as a minister on the sitting governor. So
people refer to Wike as a powerful minister, especially politicians, the likes of Fayose.
So that's why do you think Wike does all this press release, media chat? It's for relevance. It's to just put himself out there. It's to create this aura that, okay, he's in control. But the truth is, he's totally not in control. But he needs to put up that show. He needs to, and that's why he needs to even ensure that Fubara leaves. Because if Fubara doesn't go, there will be question marks about his leadership.
Okay, so let's talk about tax now. I'm moving to Blueprint, and I have this headline that says, poor Nigerians will benefit from the new tax regime. That's coming from Adedeji. A lot of Nigerians do not believe this claim. Do you agree with this? In your own understanding, can you explain this?
So I listened to that interview yesterday night before I slept, and I was just curious. So, and I think that's how I tend to deal with Nigerian news. Once anything comes from the government, I don't rush to engage it, because time allows a lot of things to unfold. The truth will fall by the wayside. The lies will fall by the wayside, and the truth would begin to shine bright. I think so. From my own understanding so far, one thing is certain. I may not understand it in its whole entirety, because it's a sizable document as well. But what I can tell is that for anyone earning below, I think, is it 80 million or 25 million annually, they can give a sigh of relief, in the sense that if your annual income doesn't get to a certain threshold, you're not going to be taxed. And when I looked at that figure, I'm trying to remember it now.
I think it's if your income is less than 800,000 in a year. In
a year for some. Then there's still some like business SMEs and the likes as well. So, well, looking at the number that that I saw, and most average Nigerians do not earn up to that limit. So to a reasonable extent, out of say 200 million Nigerians, you'll probably find almost half, or if not more, that based on that metric will not even be taxed.
Okay.
So, but where I think there's a lot of concerns is the misinformation that has been coming around as to narrations. Oh, check, if you're sending me money, put a loan, put this,
Gifts.
put that, put gifts. All of those
don't
things.
remove, I've seen all sorts in the last few
it's
days.
misinformation that's, and I think Nigerians also like cruise sometimes.
Imagine, what is Tinubu, don't remove my money?
So people forget that there are privacy policies in the country too that ensures that nobody accesses such data, except like your banking institution. They don't share that information to just anybody. So now, for instance, that narration, the world can only know it because that person posted it out. But the bank on its own will not show that, based on my own understanding of it. So I think Nigerians and more the federal government needs to, and I think I'll put the blame on the federal government, because this is about trust. Okay. We have been conditioned not to trust the government. So whenever anything comes out as a policy, it has given us that, like how would I put it? They've pushed us in that position whereby we have to question a lot of things that they do. To know, okay, is this thing even for my benefit, or is there something hidden? Personally, for me, I don't even trust this government, and I believe that no matter how beautiful a policy is under the Tinubu administration, there's something that is a benefit to them that is the main motivation behind it, and that they just cloud it with something that looks appealing to with the populace. And the main is being done behind the scene. But I think one of the interesting things about the whole scenario is that the government moved FIRS, the cancelled FIRS, and moved it to the, National Revenue, is it NRS now? So some internal, institutional stuffs are being upgraded, and it's good to see. But beyond that, I still have a lot of, should I call it, sitting on the fence approach. And this is more enhanced because of the, I've forgotten the name of the honorable in the House that raised the alarm that what was approved in the House is different from what was gazetted. So all of those instances gives us that concerns that, okay, are they trying to pass a law behind the scene? Because why would you want to gazette something that is different from what was approved in the House and that the president signed into law? So that's why I said at the moment I'm just taking a back seat. At least now I've listened to the interview of Mr. Adedeji, the Mr. Zacchaeus, as I usually call him. But I still feel like in the coming days, with more analysts going through the document, analyzing it, more clarity will come in. Because in that whole piece of legislation, basic thing we are just discussing is, which particular taxing, we've not even talked about probably the implementation, how it's being assessed, and I think to also educate the citizen. The NRS would not come and check your phone, your data balance one-on-one. They don't even have the capacity to do so. There are over 40 million Nigerians to 50 or 60 million accounts. So, and over 200 million Nigerians. So the tax body does not have the capacity to say it wants to go and monitor everybody and check everybody one for one. So it's you as an individual that is expected to file your annual returns with them. And by so doing, you get it. So someone like myself now, this year now, I have to look at my income. And by the time it is necessary to do so, I file it and say, okay, this year I got so amount. This year, this is what came in, and give
taxable income.
Taxable income, basically. And on the premise of that, I pay what is necessary for me to do, and we're good to go.
Adede just mentioned something. He said that the rich is trying to instigate the poor against the government because they know that it will favor the poor, and that it might not really favor the rich because they might need to pay more. Is that valid to you? Yeah,
it's valid because I also believe that. You can't tax poverty, just like Peter Obi has consistently championed. If someone does not have money, you can't go and still ask him for money. You are the one that should look for ways to put more money into his hands, or put money in his hands and position him in a way that he can double that money. Then you can tax him from that money. Not that he has nothing and you're still asking him to go get. So, but for the rich, it's a bit scary for them because when you deal in percentage, the volume of what they have to give back looks so big that they always look for how to sidestep. So say, let me give an instance, someone like a Dangote or anyone in the class of a Dangote, that you are earning almost over 20 billion. 20 billion is even too small. Perhaps let's even say close to $1 billion in dollars. The likelihood that you are going to pay tax might be on maybe you're expected to off maybe $1 billion, you're probably expected to pay tax on over maybe $70 million dollars rate, as if that's at the scale of maybe if it is $1 billion. By the time they convert those type of monies, it looks so big that they feel that this amount could have probably been invested somewhere else in their business to help them generate. Okay. So the more you make, that's the more the potential for your taxes to be high. For instance, in the US, Elon Musk is like one of the highest paying tax individual, and it's humongous. Okay. Like practically humongous. So I can understand why the rich might be concerned, because I think it's either 4%, 5%, 6% thereabouts that is being done. So when they convert that percentage, it's a big sum of money. So, and most times they prefer that, oh, let me keep this money somewhere else. Let me sidestep, so that's why you say a lot of them will hide. They build many companies inside one company to move the money in one place. So every possible opportunity for them to avoid paying taxes, they will do so.
Let's see how that will play out. Let's talk about the attack now. I have this headline that says Tinubu orders manhunters terrorist kill 42 abducts cause in Niger. Bago urges calm airstrikes kill 23 fleeing bandit in Kano. Over time now, I think there was an attack last year in December where over 300 students were kidnapped, including teachers, and then they were released, thanks to God. But then, with everything that, the security apparatus in this country, have been trying to do over time, would you say that we've been able to achieve any improvement at all? Because, I mean, this is so recent. These people just came back. I'm very sure that a lot of them will have to go for therapy because of the whole exam. So, would you say we've been able to achieve any improvement at all with this attack?
Is it from the Nigerian end or the terrorist end?
No, from the Nigerian end, in terms of not just in Nigeria, Nigerians now, but then the security apparatus, especially because the president, did a lot, improved a lot of things, and of course we are still, seeing attacks like this.
So the truth is, regardless of whatever is being put in place currently, terrorism will not disappear overnight. Okay. Because we have to also understand that there are a lot of things that has led us to this point where terrorism is dominant, let me put it that way. So it means that a lot of measures has to still be put in place to ensure that over time, over a span of, say, in the next 3 months, 6 months, we begin to see that, okay, it is dwindling. So just one airstrike helped by the United States will not automatically eradicate terrorism. A case study is in the Middle East. Hamas and the likes, despite multiple bombings, it did not stop them from it didn't make them to overnight just say we are not doing. Okay,
speaking of the airstrike, sorry to quote you, I think some Nigerians are saying that, that particular one might have, increased the anger of these people, and maybe that's why, all of these attacks are happening.
But it's foolishness on their part as well, because that will just enforce or embolden the US to say, okay, you know what, truly there's a crisis. So the best that if they were smart is to go under the radar, run away from their base. Already there are videos of them running out of their camps and all. Okay. A good example, look at how Trump picked up President Maduro of Venezuela. That's the height of how America can go all out to execute a policy. So them kidnapping just reinforces, and I think it's a good thing for us. It reinforces the fact that there's a lot of work to be done security-wise, a whole lot of work to be done. So, and what I was even the point I was also trying to make is that beyond just the airstrike, economically also, there are needs. Because you can't pay a military officer, say, at the lowest rank, about 15,000 naira to 70,000 naira. You give him arms to go fight Boko Haram. When Boko Haram guys are probably even paid in dollars, or it's equivalent in naira. I was having a conversation with someone over the week that is private to some conversations over there. And he said that it is more lucrative to fight for the terrorist bandits than to be fighting for the Nigerian army. It's more lucrative. He said that's why it's easy for them to mobilize guys. So most of the guys that are even fighting on the other end of this war, or of this terrorism fight, are practically being recruited with the promise of a better life, money. And so most of them is not even ideological anymore. So it's basically, oh, with this you can earn more money, you can get more this. So economic-wise, it's also one of the conditions or one of the reasons why people are finding that appealing. That if we even take away banditry, there's kidnapping, there is armed robbery. Like all of these vices, as bad as they are, you can still tell that certain conditions in the country has conditioned some persons to think that that's the only way out for them to have a good living. So when government wants to do anything on that regard, they have to ensure that, okay, you do the right thing in terms of showing force, then you also provide something else that allows these people to see a better alternative. So you don't say you want to take that away from them, and you're not positioning them for something else that is more better and beneficiary to the society. And this period now, with the backing of the US, I think Nigeria has to do a lot more when it comes to ensuring that we beef up our military arsenal. Just like I would always pick a lesson from Trump. Once your army is very strong, nobody wants to test the might of your army. Nigerian army has not shown, or the Nigerian Defense Forces have not shown over time that they have the capacity, the unity, the focus to deal with any issues of this nature. Until we get to that level also whereby you take out 1, 2, 3 top leaders of this terror group and instill fear. Right now there is no fear. Nigerian military has lacked the capacity to instill fear in the hearts of the terrorists, and I think that challenges are. So until we get to that level where we can actively do that, I think they will start having a second thought.
Okay, you mentioned Venezuela, so let's talk about it very briefly. Because, I think people across the world are divided about what happened in Venezuela. While some persons are saying, okay, they don't even feel pity, for Maduro, based on the accusations and all. But some persons, even a U.S. senator recently, I think he posted something, and I read it yesterday night, he said that, what Trump did will make the world feel less safe. Because a lot of persons are also saying it's a contempt of territorial integrity, that regardless of whatsoever it is that is going on in a certain country, you have no right whatsoever to invade or even kidnap the president.
It's very easy for them to hide under a lot of English words.
Okay.
The truth is, Maduro had outlived his usefulness in Venezuela. And that's why I'm angry with the United Nations, the AU, ECOWAS, and the likes. You see a leader that forcefully puts himself in office against the will of the people, and everybody looks away. And you'll be touting democracy, you'll be touting a lot of things. Maduro lost the last election held last year, just like he lost the previous ones, but still held on to power. Maduro is the head of a narco-terrorist group that hijacked the sovereignty of a country. If you want, everybody shouts democracy. Democracy simply says the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Why did they look away when he perpetuated himself in office? Why did they look away, or what were they saying? Or did they say anything when he chased over 8 million Venezuelans out of the country by virtue of the fact that there was no economic prosperity for them?
Okay.
There was no living standard at a good rate. People, it is the second largest migration witnessed in modern history in the Western region, whereby without an active war in your country, over 8 million persons migrated out for better pastures, not because there was violence. And it was very hard on even his people. He killed people. I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago, it was under his administration that citizens that were protesting were gunned down. What did the international community say? It was under him that practically all the opposition in the country has been killed. Even the woman that won the last election, Machina also, that won the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize over Trump, had to run out of the country in hiding. So, different things that Maduro did. Under Maduro, Russia, China, and the likes came into the country and took the wealth, basically, of the country, because that was how he was able to negotiate his stay in power. And people tend to forget also that in global politics, a lot of English language does not work. A lot of morality does not stand. Everybody is fighting for the sovereignty and the safety of their own calculations and security of their own country. Venezuela shares, just like the way we have Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, we are in Africa. Same way Venezuela and Cuba and the likes of are in North America. And America needs to ensure that its allies or those that are its enemies do not form relationships that are strong, that can affect them within that region, as it were, of which China, Russia has shown that they are not pro-America. Oil is one of the tools that is being used to fight global war, and these are people that are in control of Venezuelan oil. So it means that they have resources, they have means to at least keep waging a war against the United States, either proxy or outrightly. So Donald Trump knew that something had to give way to ensure that he protects himself. And watch, in the coming weeks this year, you will see how the Ukraine-Russian war will begin to take a much more balanced note. Because Russian oil that could not be sold publicly was being sold through Venezuelan ships and the likes.
Russia is not even in support of this,
No, they invasion. They are not in support of the invasion. Yeah. But they can't fight two wars on two fronts.
Okay.
So if there was no Ukrainian war ongoing, Russia probably might have been more vocal about this.
Okay.
But because they have not yet controlled the Ukraine narrative, that's why they can't even afford to fight on two fronts. So a lot of politicking is going on, and it's an interesting time for us to be alive and to watch what is going on and play. So a lot of the things we see going on in the Middle East, the fight against Iran, they all pile up to it. Iran, Russia, China, these three institutions, these three countries are actively in control of the Venezuelan economy.
Okay.
So Trump, and these are people that have sworn that they are not friends of America, and are looking for different ways to undermine America. So it goes beyond just what we are being fed in the media. There's still a lot that I'm sure that with more research and digging, it would unfold a lot of things. But at least one thing is certain, Maduro is no saint. He had outlived his usefulness. And the US gave him an open window. Leave or we'll take you out. And he dared them to come for him, that they are cowards. And they came for him. So, and if there's anything also that it showed the world that you don't mess with the American military. Because no military on earth, not China, not Russia, would have been able to make that move, go into the country. He didn't just go and pick a journalist. He went to pick the sitting president of a country. And he did that within, I think, 10 minutes, 40 minutes. And by the time the country knew, they were already outside the country. It was even when Trump announced that the country was now like, it's true, where's the president, that they said they could not confirm his presence. Same way they did for Iran too.
That's really serious.
Took out all the nuclear capabilities of
even Libya, though Libya is still in shambles as we speak, and it's a sad one.
And I think that's why I respect Trump with this, especially taking the two most important strikes so far.
Okay.
The Iran strike and the one 2 days ago of Venezuela. Prior governments of the US would have initiated a war that is avoidable, that would affect civilians and the likes.
Okay.
But Trump just went in, did what he needed to do, take out strategic military installations, pick who you want to pick, you go out. If it was under the Democrats, they probably would go and initiate a war that will be fought for the next 3, 4, 5 years. And they'll just keep spending money on a war that they already know that there's no point going into or winning. But Trump knew that his issue is not with the Venezuelan people.
Okay.
It's just Maduro. Went in, picked him out. And the country is running fine. There are celebrations on the streets. And
just like the same way Libyans celebrated back then. But then it depends on Venezuela.
So it would have been an interesting thing if that was employed in Libya then. If you are coming for Gaddafi, come in that way, pick him and go. The country will still have stabilized. The structure will still be there. It's just be that as Gaddafi goes, a leadership, the next person in line, just like Venezuela now, the next leader in line is the vice president, the woman, and she's Rodriguez, and she's already sworn in as acting president.
Even the defense minister, I think, announced that people can go back to their normal lives. And of course, he's in I think for 100 days, the vice president
because they're still having conversation with America on how it's going to be run. But
Okay.
the point simply is saying, you go straight, deal with who needs to be dealt with. Because the playbook in Libya was to fund rebels.
Okay.
So there was now internal fighting within the country. So civilian lives were going to be lost. America did not do that with Iran, did not do that with Venezuela. They could have easily said, okay, Maduro, you are not our person. Look for one available tool within the country. Give him army, give him funding, let them be fighting, scatter the whole place. By the time they are done, the country is still in shambles. But that was not the case. And I think there's a lot to learn as they keep unfolding.
Definitely. We wish Venezuela well, going forward. Let's talk about this headline on the West. I have this one that says, Oyo APC accuses Makinde of hypocrisy, vows to expose secret. I think last week or maybe last week, something very funny happened. When Fayose went on national TV to say that, Sheyi Makinde received 50 billion naira, and then Sheyi Makinde in turn, said that he received only 30 billion naira. And of course, I think he released a receipt of that. And then Fayose also said that there are more secrets to be reviewed, though he has not started yet. But now that APC or your APC is coming out to say that, they're going to expose more secrets, should we be prepared for more, revelations, speaking about your state? Definitely, I think a lot of persons are saying, is Makinde doing all of this because he's done? He's going to be done with his, second term soon enough. What do you make of it?
It's 2027 is near.
Yeah, very, very near.
It's like I say, it's fair game.
Okay.
For both parties too.
Okay.
But I think it's a pointer for PDP to wake up also and not relax. I think PDP has assumed that they will stroll to power in 2027 in Oyo State. And I think the playbook of APC is to ensure that they sow distrust in the hearts of people in Oyo State. So everything I see going on is basically just APC realizing that truly Makinde is a force in Oyo State and that people love him. People like him, people believe him, people go where he goes. And that if they allow the atmosphere to remain the way it is, coolly going into the election, that their chances are very slim. So what better way? The propaganda party, APC, they come with their propagandas. They'll tell you soft lies and leave you to be the one to run around to clarify yourself. So, and that's what they did with Fayose. Okay. The document that Fayose tendered as a supposed proof that Makinde ate money was not valid and not tenable anywhere. But because we are a sensational country where half truths, half news, we have picked it up, we have jumped on it, dissected it, killed it before even the actual information.
Tell me, what about this? Sorry to quote you. I think Sheyi Makinde said, his government released that the money has not been spent yet.
Yes.
So Fayose in turn said, return the money back with interest. And then a lot of Nigerians are saying that if at all the money is kept safe, why is it that the governor did not say a word?
Yeah, so the special intervention funds are rarely being announced.
Okay.
So there's no need for, I think if we are going to ask for, I'm looking for the right word. If we're going to be asking, okay, let me put it this way. If we're going to be asking that question of Sheyi Makinde, we should also be asking all the governors too that received money at that same period. Lagos received about 150 billion within that same period. We are only just knowing now because of the deep research going into the Makinde issue. And the same applies for many other state governments. And the truth also is that even if the government has released it, something that is about 2 years ago issue or 1 year ago issue, Nigerians are even that low, has low capacity threshold to remember things. Another news would have popped on it and pushed it to the corner. And the second question too is, okay, now that we know, what is Nigerians going to do about it?
I think the only thing that was released was, I think, around 2024, I think around May or so, Punch reported that about 4.5 billion naira was, given to the victims, of the explosion.
And I think what people fail to realize is this. The government approved 50 billion, released 30 billion. It's only normal and understandable to say, okay, let me keep this money here so that when the 20 comes in, we can get something doing with the 50 billion.
Is there hope that the 20 will come in? Because according to Sheyi Makinde, and of course, I think his media aid, the 20 billion was withheld because of certain things.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I think he has seen all of this coming. And that's the only reason why that's the only thing that can make me understand him not touching the money, because every government needs money. And especially resources of that magnitude, there are a lot of things that you also need to do that it will come in handy for. But I think what he has consistently showed the federal government since he came into office as governor in 2019 is to let the federal government know that he has the capacity to run the state with or without them. We've seen that with COVID. We've seen that with a lot of policies from the federal government that are questionable. We've seen that with him taking on projects that the federal government have ignored. People forget that the international airport, the Alaki airport that is now the international airport, is Oyo State funds that the federal government said they are not going to reimburse him, and he did it. I've forgotten the federal highway road that I think the one that leads to either Ilorin axis or the likes that I've applied, that he did without, and the government and the federal government said they were not going to reimburse him, and he still went ahead and he did it. So there are many projects he has taken upon himself that federal government are not taking responsibility for, even though it is a federal government tax and responsibility to do, which he has taken responsibility for. So, and look at it also, with or without their 30 billion, which means whether they brought the 30 billion or the 50 billion or not, you can see that he has started work with available resources in Oyo State. So it's a thumbs up for me, thumbs up to him for having that mental fortitude and vision to at least carry out those reforms or carry out those repairs at the pace at which resources permit him. And it's a questionable thing that people play politics with the lives of people. And that's what we see with Fayose and the like. So if you cannot show proof that he embezzled the money, so whatever supposed secrets that exist is just to play to the gallery. I don't think there's any deep secret, because this APC government that knows how to blackmail people would have already done that long ago.
Okay, thank you so much. Until APC release some secret, according to them, let's remain positive about Oyo State and Yonda. A big thanks to you, Tim Tokweshola, historian and public affairs analyst, for joining us this morning on this particular segment.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. And of course, to the audience, thank you for joining us. My name is Rayemi Adelakun. Please stay with us. Big Story will come up soon.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
Good morning and welcome to The Big Story on Daybreak Live, where we go beyond the headlines to examine the forces shaping our world. Today we ask a troubling question, but a necessary one. Might over right. How Trump's actions in Venezuela redefine global sovereignty. From threats of military intervention to aggressive sanctions and political pressure, the United States' posture towards Venezuela under President Donald Trump has reignited a global debate, one that strikes at the heart of international law, national independence, and the balance of power in modern world. Is global sovereignty still protected by rules and institutions, or are we entering an era where power alone decides what is right? Samson Balogun is my name, and thank you for joining us. At the core of this issue is sovereignty, the fundamental principle that every nation has the right to govern itself without external interference. The United Nations Charter, particularly Article 2, Chapter 1, affirms the sovereignty, equality of all states, while Article 2, Chapter 4 expressly prohibits the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any country. These provisions were designed after World War II to prevent powerful nations from imposing their will on weaker ones. However, recent actions and rhetoric by the United States towards Venezuela, including recognition of an alternative government, sweeping economic sanctions, and repeated suggestions of military action, have raised serious questions about whether these principles are being selectively applied. What does this mean for Colombia as a country? So for Colombia, Venezuela's immediate neighbor, the stakes are high. Political instability next door has already triggered massive refugee inflow, economic strain, and heightened security concern along the border. Any escalation driven by foreign intervention risks turning Colombia into a frontline state exposed to spillover conflicts, diplomatic pressure, and internal unrest. Don't forget, the president was even threatened by the president of America that he should watch his, that's a word I don't want to use on the show. What about Nigeria and Africa? For countries like Nigeria, the implications are equally profound. Even if geographically distant, Nigeria, like Venezuela, is a resource-rich nation with significant oil reserves. If sovereignty can be overridden under the pretext of political reform, democracy promotion, or national interest, then no developing nation is truly insulated. It raises uncomfortable question. Could internal political disputes become grounds for external interference? Thus, resource wealth make a nation more vulnerable to foreign pressure. Are international rules applied equally or only when convenient for powerful states? Across Africa, Asia, and Latin America, many nations see Venezuelan situation as a warning sign. one that challenges the idea that international law, not military or economic might, governs global relations. Right. Then there is the unavoidable question: is America after Venezuela's oil resources? Venezuela possesses one of the largest proven oil reserves in the world. Critics argue that the U.S. interest in regime change is closely tied to energy security and economic interest, pointing to historical precedents where resource-rich nations became targets of intervention. Supporters of U.S. Action insist that the motivation is humanitarian, restoring democracy and alleviating suffering caused by misgovernance. Yet, the overlap between strategic resources and foreign policies objectives make the debate impossible to ignore. There are implications for world order. If powerful nations can bypass international institutions like the UN, which we are going to be talking extensively about this morning, impose unilateral sanctions, or threaten force without broad global consensus, the very foundation of the post-war war order is at risk. It sets a precedence where power overrides law, might replaces multilateral agreements, smaller nations become increasingly vulnerable, and once that line is crossed, the global stability becomes fragile for everyone. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning. I have with me Comrade Oluwakemi Ademola Aremu, an advocate for good governance, and of course she's a human rights activist. We love to call her Comrade Katie. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to be with you this morning, and I especially love this topic today. One, what is sovereignty? Somebody actually asked me yesterday, said, what do you think of this? I said, look, the people that wrote the textbooks that you're reading, they're the ones writing the textbooks now.
Wow.
Yes. Say, look, if you think of the United Nations, who funds United Nations? Who funds it? So veto power. In fact, I woke up this morning thinking of celebration. Yes. That who is united and what is united in United Nations? And the sense of a united nation has made many people irresponsible all over the world. The cup in hand, ball in hand of Africa, the attitude is because somewhere, they think there's a big brother somewhere that is going to bail them out when the trouble comes. And you now have this issue of, remember the time when we had the East-West trouble? A lot of it was media promulgation. It was a lot about information management. So that is it. So this is the time to be alive in the world today. As per sovereignty, if we look at what is happening in Venezuela, it's also a petro state. That is why that parallel between Nigeria and Venezuela is very, very important. And you notice the first person or country that was reached out for was Nigeria. Okay, remember we had this issue, Niger. Would we have a problem with Niger if they were not practicing democracy? And Nigerians screamed, no, we don't want to fight our brothers. That is salvation point. Then they said, okay, let's look at another angle. This country is not stable. Poverty is the second name because we have to draw the parallel attitude between the two countries. Venezuela, Colombia, Nigeria. America has a drug problem. Philadelphia is overtaken by homes that are not inhabited because the people are on the street. You see 40-year-olds that have been on drugs, crack babies everywhere. And then America keeps bearing the brunt. And think about the great generation in America. There was a generation they called the Great Generation. They were the ones that backed these theories we are studying now. In fact, America fought for its independence. I keep thinking, if you look at the American military, the blue coats versus the red coats of the Britain, they were a colonized nation too. Then they fought, they created systems. And Benjamin Franklin said, no, I don't want to be a king. Okay? So now they created an America. So America is the I want to call it the mother of democracy.
Okay, going by the current situation in Venezuela. Now, we want to talk about the United Nations. What role do they play in any of this? Between 2017 and 2020, that was the most explicit threats about the U.S. threatening to withdraw from the United Nations. And under President Donald Trump, U.S. officials repeatedly threatened to withdraw from the UN or drastically reduce engagement, accusing the organization of 1, being biased against U.S. interests, 2, inefficiency and corruption, and 3, shielding authoritarian regimes. Now, Do you think US is now getting what they requested from the UN?
Look, the truth is this. I love Trump, and you can quote me. This man is fixed on making America great again. I wish there's a Nigerian that wants to make Nigeria great again. I don't want a situation where people in the country are suffering, like they were suffering in Venezuela. Oil-rich state, and poverty rate is so high, inflation is so high. It's the same thing. Dictatorship, a mode of governance. Okay, so what do you think is happening to Nigeria? Now let's say he's rich, he was thinking, Nigeria, you know, your corruption level is very terrible, you're not governing right. Do we come for you? Because America needs resources to be great again. So the method of being great is what you will ask. And let me tell you, the world is not moralistic. Those rules were put in place. Remember there was a Hitler. And everybody felt, okay, do we keep fighting or can we come to a space where we would have peace? And I keep saying 2,500 years of Socratic principles must be challenged by a generation. We cannot just think, oh, we've put this system in place. And Africa did not take advantage of the time of peace. I can say it anywhere. Look, the time of peace is when you prepare for war. If we had put our home in order, if we do not keep thinking somebody somewhere out there could be dictating systems to us, if we do not forfeit our indigenous systems, but used our education, the elites, they are watching now, if we didn't use our educational process to subjugate our own indigenous common sensicality that was very useful to us, would we be where we are today? Looking at systems that we don't know how to operate, systems that are funded. Look at it, 3%, 3 to 5% of what we need in Nigeria is created in Nigeria. Who lives like that? A nation that 97% of whatever you need is dependent on other nations. Think of America. America is in debt, America is creditable. So now will Donald Trump on his watch, like he said, allow America to go down the drain? They don't even have babies. They are depending on other human beings that are produced in their land. They are trying to encourage their children to produce babies now. They gave you the theory that you should not populate the earth. Now they are thinking differently. So I am saying, because when young people ask God, I say, look, what you are quoting, your definition of democracy, where did it come from? Did they have a superior mind? Where did they get that prototype from? Were you not operating democracy in an Oyo empire, where you had a house of rep, where the people could just tell the king, please go inside and don't come out again? So why did we jettison what we had? Because somehow we never valued anything that we came up with. So Venezuela now, look, if anybody that ever watched any movie or any story knows how Colombia is, drug. Think of Venezuela, and where is their target? What is the primary target of drug dealers? It's America. And you know, like about a month ago, I was really thinking, I said, America really created a new world for us. A world where right is wrong. It's in America you will defend somebody that is crazy, like that has committed a crime. I say he has a mental problem. You know, there's something wrong with
the influence of drug.
Under the influence of drug. They just keep him and be feeding him with the state's taxes that you collected from people that are law-abiding. So they corrupted the morality of the world. Now, they're trying to take care of their own. And what are they doing now? They say, come near me, I'll deal with you. So don't worry, you read new textbooks. Until African leaders, you watching at home, all of us decide to come together and build a nation. Look, your security is as secure as your internal security. So a nation that is ravaged by poverty, where people are disgruntled, but don't know what system, what element, what mode to, to engage the state in. It is fault, and any change is as strong as its weakest link. Now,
let's go back memory lane and see the number of leaders across the world who have been either killed or arrested by the U.S. government. Now, talking about Panama in 1989, the president, Manuel Noriega, was actually taken by the U.S. Panama was invaded and the president was arrested. Now, going down to Iraq in 2003, Saddam Hussein, the same thing, they suffered the same fate. In Afghanistan, 2001, that is Mullah Muhammad Omar, who was the Taliban leader at the time, who was also suffered the same fate on the hands of the U.S. government. Muammar Gaddafi of Libya was killed in 2011.
And Africans were quiet?
Africans were quiet about it. In Grenada in 1983, Orton Austin, the same thing happened to him. in the hands of the U.S. government. And the Dominican Republic in 1965, that was Juan Bosch, who was the president at the time, also suffered the same fate. These are leaders of different countries. Now, if we are talking about sovereignty of nations, and leaders of some countries are being hunted down by the United States government. Now, I understand where you're coming from, that the U.S. is trying to protect its territory, especially with the drug invasion here and there, and what they have suffered in the hands of drug dealers in recent times. But then, shouldn't there be a line that when it is crossed, someone has to take the responsibility and call the U.S. to order? That this you are doing
is that person that we call U.S. to order? Look, it's this way. When you know, I'm not defending.
What's the role of China, Russia, the other world powers in all of this?
Who created China? Get it right. See, look at this. English has is multi, like I've always said, there's no problem that is singular per factorial. So now, America made itself the police of the world. It felt, it was a colony.
Is it because the people accepted it? Other countries accepted it?
Of course. Why does every Nigerian want to go to
America? Is America preying on weak countries?
No.
Why not face Russia? Why not face China?
No. Human beings are human beings. And the human dynamics is power related. That's why even when you go to, I always say that the global space is something you may not be able to see all through, and you can be having this. Think of the home. It is where you are born. It is where you have some power. The whole world is about power dynamics. It is who is going to serve who is going to feed on who is going to do it. And when you do it, in a nice manner, it is called diplomacy. When you are thinking, okay, when you're still caring about what people think about, it is called information management. When you were the ones that trained the Saddam Husseins of this world, and you took them out, and you are told that the Nigerian president is a U.S. asset. Is that not what you heard? Okay? So what are we talking about? Any human being that gives his power to another stands a great risk. Because when you're no longer useful, the person can take you out. So why would you want them to engage China? I think when I was doing my MBA, that was when we were looking at the different businesses, how they operate. And the multinational corporations, they are behind everything that you're seeing. It's all about economics. And that is why the forever debate about economics and politics will never stop. So what was it that the Venezuelan government and the people of Venezuela did not decide to operate their economy, though they are oil rich? And they destroyed the society to the level where it was possible for an external force to come and look at their affairs. Why is it that some people decided, even in Nigeria, you have the bad taxes, not so, the ones that come from drugs. Remember, there was a time when the Nigerian state decided, the House of Assembly, that, we should stop. We always complain every year there are accidents because people are on drugs, under the influence of alcohol. Is that not what we say? And then they'll say, maybe we should stop people producing the drugs, especially alcohol. And the one that is really, obtainable, the alcohols used to come in bottles. Then when the people became very poor, they made the pelebe, the ones that are in the sachet. Okay, now, even any little person could just have access to the sachet. So they said, okay, if we're going to reduce hooliganism, if we're going to reduce the incidence of people not using their mind, because when a man is sober, he's able to think and value things and weigh things and make proper decisions within whatever is available to him. So can we stop the influence and reduce violence in our nation by tackling the sachet? What did the people come up with? No. There's an economic advantage in taking this because it's going to take care and get rid of the poor. The same thing with HIV/AIDS. When everybody was screaming in 86, hey, HIV/AIDS, they felt, no, there's no problem. That was when it happened in the US. It was first a Greek guy, and they said, no problem. It's just homosexuals dying. Not knowing that many men were bisexual. I am saying, see, if we don't go back to the moral laws, if there's no morality in the standard, then there's no reason why you shouldn't do what you want to do. There are debates about euthanasia. Are you free to tell your doctor to kill you? Okay? People get rid of people in Nigeria, the Yahoo boys. What do you think they're doing? So that is it. We don't put our house in order. The whole world is hungry. So if you have resources that you're mismanaging, if you're watching your state being bombed by the story, they are just illegal miners. Have we seen anybody prosecuted since that time? Because somewhere, somehow, the kings and the chiefs and the people in government are benefiting. So somebody knows they have your dossier, they have your story. Look, information gathering has never stopped. Espionage is still the reason for governance. People that are sitting with you on your committees, they belong to the security field.
They're assets in other countries.
Even assets in your nation. That cleaner in your office could be a DSS person. You wouldn't know. The strength of a man is the information that he has. That is why knowing is powerful. Knowledge is power.
Shortly before we go, what lesson should African leaders take away from the recent happenings across the world?
Too late. Too late. They've never learned anything. They've not been serving their citizenry. They've not been thinking of they were always trying to fit into a model they did not create. That's why I said it's good news today to me. I'm very happy. Because now your textbooks are going to be rewritten. And unfortunately, the so-called eggheads, the people that know, they will now be boasting. They'll be making definitions. We need to live. And you live by expressing yourself. Africa, go back to your roots. And you see, you have to begin to love yourself. Do you know how many Venezuelans, since 2015, more than 8 million Venezuelans migrated from their country to America? Everybody's targeting America. And America knows that they are the peak. They are the dream of many nations. So they can do what they like. And they are that dream because of their own generation that built their nation. So that is what I'm saying. If Nigeria is going to be great, we will start minding our table. Fathers will build their home. Mothers will mind the care of the children. We must go back to the morals. America that told you bad is good and good is bad. Okay, drink soda. Now Trump is telling them, you will take molasses or sugar cane inside your Coke. You're not going to take sugar again because people are diabetic. And then the people that have consanguinity in their country, they're marrying their cousins and brothers and sisters. Then they go to America to produce them. And the American system is taking care of those disabled kids. And you don't want us to say they are disabled. Disabled by their mothers who took drugs when they were in utero. That is the problem. So are we willing to change? It will take sacrifice. It will take fighting. It will take the American attitude. Make America great again. Individual nations, make your own nation great again. Empower your people to produce. Stop consuming, including consuming the theories of other nations, including the definition of democracy. It was consumed from America. Now America is changing the story. Go read the new books.
Thank you, Comrade, for joining us on the show this morning. I really wish we had more time to expand this particular topic this morning because there's a lot really to talk about. A lot of questions still left unasked this morning on this show. But we do hope that some other time we'll be able to discuss this extensively. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, as the world watches Venezuela, the real story may be bigger than one country or one former president or president. It is about whether international law still matters, whether sovereignty is truly equal, and whether the global system can restrain power with principle. If might consistently overrides right, then today's Venezuela could be tomorrow's Colombia, Nigeria, or any nation deemed inconvenient or expendable. This is the question before us, and one of the world can no longer afford to ignore. A big thank you to my guest this morning, Comrade Oluwakemi Ademola Aremo, Comrade Katie, for our insight. I am Samson Balogun. Up next is Trend Watch on Daybreak Live. Thank you for staying tuned.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality...
All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. Do well to link up with us on all socials, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast. And on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. You can watch us live on our website at www.dominion.org.ng. Now it's time for Trend Watch. On this show this morning, I have the three musketeers back in the studio with me, which will be making sense of this trending topic. Welcome back.
Thank you, and that was a very interesting conversation.
Short and simple, but definitely made a lot of sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's an ongoing conversation, and I think we might not exhaust it now, because there seems to be development also from Cuba. I'm seeing quite a number of things also as well. But of course, we keep our fingers crossed and see what becomes of this whole issue.
Absolutely.
Now, what we have on Trend Watch today is about APC. Okay, so this is coming from the National Vice Chair in the Northeast. It says that members who are corrupt will not be shielded in the party. So the big picture or the big conversation for me would be that, is this true at the national level? Or is it just a statement to just bamboozle people? Because if you say that you will not, we understand why some persons are defecting. It's not just because they want a seat, or should we say a seat at the presidency, they want a seat or something. What they want is to clear their names, especially people who have served in government and they know that they have done something, they have soiled their hands. The best way for them, as we know in Nigeria, is to move to a place where you can be shielded. But is this true of the national level?
So I think there was a time that Adams Oshomole said something that when you join APC,
and your sins are forgiven.
Yeah. And then recently...
That was the reason we're having this conversation. Because if you hadn't made that statement that time, maybe people wouldn't have seen, what we are saying now.
Definitely. And then I think recently, the former, what's it called now, Attorney General Federation, that's Malami, his wife and son were remanded in Kuje prison. And then Nigerians and even members of the opposition parties came out to say that, why is it that the EFCC is doing this, to people who are not members of the APC? Let's talk about Tambuwatu. There was a time he was arrested. And of course, apart from it, I think Bala Mohammed recently granted an interview where he said that, the APC is trying to harass him for not joining, APC, the party, as we're talking about. He said even his minister, one of his ministers was arrested by the EFCC. So all of this, and then don't forget that there was a time that the current EFCC chairman came out to say that, I want to read to you now. He said, if I don't see this case, Belu's case through, I won't have any moral right to accuse anybody of corruption in Nigeria. In fact, EFCC should be prescribed. I will resign, according to him. But up till now, we are not hearing so much about Yabelo's case. But then all of us, I don't want to say that this is happening, or maybe all of those people are being harassed because they are not members of the APC. But then this is what Nigerians are saying. Even Atiku Abubakar, there was a time that he released a statement to say that why is EFCC and APC doing this to the likes of Tambua, the likes of former AGF, that's Malam, is a lot to unpack, because apart from he is saying that, this is not what is going on, because the president is not someone that is interested. He doesn't like corruption. He wants, a corrupt-free society. But then Nigerians are not... They are not buying this. They are seeing it as if, okay, the APC and the EFCC are trying to harass certain persons because they are members of opposition parties. So I think he will need to do more than this. Or maybe the president himself and, of course, the party as a whole, we need to do more, so that people can begin to believe that, yes, we are not doing, EFCC is working independently. And it's not just about harassing people.
Well, I think, just like you said earlier, the only reason we're having this conversation, as I mentioned, is because Adams Oshiomhole made that statement, which some members of the APC considered reckless at that time, because it so much exposed the APC to so many things, especially criticism from the opposition party. How can you say, because you have joined a particular party, your sins are forgiven, even when you have stolen billions and billions of naira belonging to Nigerian people, taxpayers' money, and then you say, oh, all that has been swept under the carpet? That really doesn't make sense to anybody. Now, we still have, I think it's a case of, we still have some APC members who are currently being tried by the EFCC. You can mention someone like Ifeanyi Okowa, who just moved to the APC. Yes, he moved to the APC, but the case has not been closed by the EFCC. It's still on their website. If you check, you'll find it there. Someone like Chris Ngige, who happens to be, a kitchen cabinet for former President Muhammadu Buhari, late former President Muhammadu Buhari, and now President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, one way or the other, he still has a relationship with the APC. He's still a member of the APC. In fact, when he was released from prison, he went straight from there to an APC meeting in Abuja. So he says that at least we still have some members of the APC who are still being tried by the EFCC. But the question is this trial selective? Are some people being pardoned silently, or they are turning blind eye to crimes of some people while punishing others, due to the fact that maybe they have less to offer in the forthcoming election? That's a big question, because some people are saying, oh, because also person is from the southeast, he knows he's probably not going to win in the southeast, so he doesn't really care, but he's pampering people from the north or maybe the southwest just because he knows that a bulk of his votes in 2027 will come from those places. And we keep our fingers crossed as regards what will happen and what will unfold. Are we going to see more corrupt APC members being tried by the EFCC?
Well, I guess it also begs the question very quickly before we pass on to the next. It passed the question that, if you claim that you will not take corrupt, that means you are aware that some persons are corrupt. Right. That means you are aware that some people are doing that because they want to hide from the laws or the grip of law, in a sense. So they know better, right? They have a clique, they know what they do. I think recently Wike was referring to himself as a crook. Not exactly, but I think he said it in a way that even the journalists that were asking, are you sure you are? Are you saying you are? But of course, we understand this. There's a game in there, and they are playing it right. So we want to be sure that the EFCC is not partisan. Very important. We need to be sure that ICPC and other, related, commissions would not also be partisan, to say whoever does the crime should really do the time. And that's exactly what Nigerians are clamoring for. That's not too bad to
more work-ins. The EFCC should show more work-ins. Really.
Not walk the talk. On the streets. All right, this is a really convenient time to draw the curtains on today's edition of Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, the very first edition for the year 2026. We say thank you for joining us on that show. Do also link up with us on all socials: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. As we always say on this show, we say thank you to all the producers, and definitely we say thank you to the technical crew for being a part of this all along. All right, Samson Balogu is my name. As I always say, keep being good, keep being safe out there. This year will be a successful one for every one of us.
Amen to that. Thank you for joining us this morning. Join us tomorrow as well. My name is Olwayemi Adelakun. Please do not forget to dream big, because at the end of the day, the dream is yours. Bye for now.
And of course, I will say it takes two to tango, they say, but it takes you and us to actually make Daybreak Live work. Thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now.